Today will be by Dmitry Kozlov. Dmitry is a recent college graduate from Brandeis University and is also a full-time participant in internet entrepreneurship. His primary venture is Purpose-Inspired Marketing, which provides web design and marketing consulting services for businesses and entrepreneurs. Outside of business, he loves to travel, read, snowboard, play tennis, and explore new activities. Today, he is going to talk about creating whatever life you want. This is project number 4 from the Confident Communicator Manual, and the objective of this project is how you say it, using the right words to convey your messages and ideas. Presenting a speech titled, "Your Life is What You Make It." Please welcome Dmitry Kozlov.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and honored guest, Steve. I'm really excited to share this message today, not just from a point of giving the speech, but from a point of hopefully touching at least a few of your hearts with this message. And the message is that you can do anything you want in your life. You can create whatever kind of life you want, but the challenge is that you all set your own limits in your imagination on creating that life. You have to realize that if you don't like the way that your life is today, or if you like it but you don't love it and you don't love every minute of it, then it's your responsibility to recognize that where you are today and how your life is today is the result of the decisions that you've been making over the past year, the past 5 years, the past 10 years. And if you want to change where you'll be in the next year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, then you have to start making different decisions today than you've made in the past. Don't just settle for what you think you can create for your life based on your past experiences, based on your limiting beliefs. Decide what you really, really, really want to do with your life. Not just what you think you can do based on what people have told you or based on what you may have told yourself inside, but based on what you really, really, really want and desire deep on your inside. If I personally settled for my own limiting beliefs, life actually wouldn't be so bad. I have to be honest here. I'd probably have a decent job after graduation. I would have pretty good relationships with my girlfriend, with my friends, with my family, who knows. But I would sit there and probably blame either the economy, my past, my parents, my teachers, my education, whatever it might be, for things not being great. And I would never take that personal responsibility if I just settled for my own limiting beliefs. Or I would say that, okay, I'm just not cut out for that kind of life, a life of freedom, passion, and purpose. That's for other people, but that's not for me, if I settle for my limiting beliefs. But instead, everything's not decent, and I'm not fine. Instead of a decent job, I have a business that allows me to live a life of freedom, passion, and purpose, and create whatever kind of future I want. I have incredible relationships, not decent relationships. And I know that every day that I work, I'm also helping to create a positive change in the lives of others and creating an unlimited future of abundance and happiness for myself. Most people don't fail because they aim too high and miss their target. They fail because they aim too low and they hit their target. And to me, that's a real shame. There's no shame in setting big, hairy, audacious goals for yourself. There's no shame in that. And going at those big, hairy, audacious goals, also called BHAGs, with everything that you have. Just the same, there's no glory, there's no audacity in living small and being afraid of your power and your potential and just living to die with the best of yourself in you just still undiscovered. When you develop yourself to the point where you believe that you can do absolutely anything, your future will be unlimited. But here's the secret. Guess what? You don't have to believe 100% that you can do anything to start doing those things. You don't have to have 100% confidence and belief in yourself and your future to take action. Because if that were the case, then nobody would ever get anything done. Because we all struggle with self-doubt. I know that's what I did. I struggled with self-doubt for years. And I still do when I face larger challenges and bigger decisions in my life that I haven't experienced in my past before. That my past beliefs tell me that I can't do that. But I just act as if I can, even if I don't fully believe in myself yet. I've mentioned myself as an example but I also try to make it a habit to hang out with other people who have big, hairy, audacious goals, who dream big, and who live with passion and take action. My friend Corey Shanes, for example, he's a good friend of mine out in California. When he graduated college, he was much like me. He had really big goals. But he went and got himself a decent job, and he worked that job for about 6 months, and he quit. He quit his job, and he took what a lot of people in his life at the time called a big risk. He went out, he tried to make things happen on his own without having a full-time 9 to 5, trying to make ends meet however he possibly could. And there were times when he was living alone, barely able to pay the rent on his apartment, living off peanut butter and jelly, hardly being able to buy food, and in 5 figures of debt. But he did it all knowing that one day it would all be much better if he just continued to aim high and go for those big goals. I was hanging out with Corey the other day in California, and let me tell you, he has a lifestyle now that most people that I know would be extremely jealous of, that they would love to have that lifestyle. I'm jealous of his lifestyle now, but he had to take those risks, and he had to set his big, hairy, audacious goals to get there. Another friend of mine, my friend Ethan, he's a musician. His passion is music, but he struggled for years. He struggled with different family situations, moving from state to state, never really having a home, a place to call home, but the whole time he kept his eyes on his vision and never let himself settle for less, sometimes keeping a full-time job to be able to support himself while he was doing music. He had 2 bands completely fall apart on him. Well, now he's a solo artist. He packs out his own shows, and has an album out that's pretty successful, and he's on his way to being signed by a major record label pretty soon. I have another friend of mine, actually a new friend, Steve Gibbons, he's right here in this room, who after college graduation, what his passion is video games. Not just video games, Madden specifically. And while a lot of kids, and I say kids, but a lot of people that I know are passionate about video games and love video games, Steve and his buddy actually were able to create a living and a full-time income stream out of playing Madden and sharing their passion with the world and educating others. So when it started out over 3 years ago, it was a vision and a dream, but they kept after it, and now it's a blissful reality for them. Let me ask you this. Do any of you think that any of these people had it easy? And I'm not going to wait for your answers. I'm going to answer it for you. No, these people did not have it easy. All of them struggled with self-doubt. All of them had their family members, their friends, some of the people closest to them probably tell them that they're crazy, they're out of their mind, they should quit what they're doing and go get a real job, or go settle for what reality is. And I dealt with all of the same things. But here's the thing, you don't have to build a business or become a famous musician or do some of the things that I described in the stories here. Just decide what you love, what really, really excites you, what may bring out your inner child, and go after that. Don't set your goals based on limiting beliefs from your past, but set your goals based on that passion and that inner child that is inside you, that sets you on fire every time you think about it. Let me leave with a few parting questions. Ask yourself, what's the difference between living and existing? And which one are you doing right now? Ask yourself, am I living or am I just existing? And finally, ask yourself these 2 questions. If not you, then who? Who's deserving of living a full and complete fulfilled life? And finally, if not now, then when? Thank you, everybody.
Let's please take 1 minute for inspirational review.